Hi everyone, my name is Siostra Catheriną and I've come to the school to start on the 1st of March as an English native speaker. I'm really pleased to be in Piotrków Trybunalski. I'm really looking forward to meeting everybody, getting to know the town, finding more about the history and the culture, and getting to know the children as well.
So where are you from?
Well, I don't know if you've heard of it, but I'm from a town called Reading, which is about 40 kilometres west of London and south of Oxford, in the south of England.
Okay, and what can you tell about this place?
Oh, well, Reading is really big because it's near London. It's famous for its football club, Reading Football Club. And a long time ago, it used to be a place where there was a very famous abbey with monks. Also, it used to have a really good industry for making biscuits. And like I said, it's really big now, with lots of businesses, particularly for IT.
Okay, and who is God for you?
Well, He is Jesus. He is my Lord, He is my King, and He's my everything. He is my all in all.
When you discover your passion for God?
I discovered my passion for God for, I would say, probably about 8 years ago. Although I always used to go to church to the Polish Catholic Church, but I would say about 8 years ago I had a very deep encounter with God, and I felt from that time to follow Him more directly in this kind of life.
And why did you choose this name, Catherine?
Well, Catherine is from Saint Catherine of Siena, who is my patroness, and she's a very famous saint in the Dominican family, and she's also the mother of our congregation, along with Mother Mary. And Saint Catherine of Siena had a really big heart for the Catholic Church, which at that time was going through lots of difficulties, but she was very courageous with her faith and really inspired me actually, so I chose her for my patroness. Okay,
and is there any story behind it?
Well, as she was so courageous and, to be honest, living this kind of life, having courage is very useful, I felt that she would be a good patroness for me to have. I also noticed that in the past people used to call me Catherine instead of Caroline, which is my name by baptism. So I thought, well, maybe that's a sign, maybe that's something to choose.
And what are your hobbies?
I have quite a few hobbies. For example, I really like painting and I absolutely adore music. When the weather is good, I quite like walking through the mountains. I used to have a bike, so I quite like riding bikes, and I like reading. I think I quite like animals as well. We have a dog actually in our house, a golden retriever, so I was pleased to see him when I arrived.
And had you any animals when you were younger?
Oh yes, I remember I had a tabby cat who was wonderful. She lived for 17 years, so we had this cat for a very, very long time, and she was really intelligent. She would, for example, know when it was Christmas, and she would find a bird or a mouse and give that to my mum when it was Christmas. And she would follow us everywhere, even along the main road. And she would love the fireplace. She would lie on the carpet like this, and to keep warm. Yeah, but we never had a dog, although we had a dog in Poland.
What convinced you to go to Poland?
Well, my mother is from Poland, and I spent my whole life with Polish people, so I really love their sense of humour, and I love how faithful they are to the church. Their churches are beautiful, and I really love the history and the culture, and the food, of course, is fantastic. So lots of things convinced me to come to Poland. But I think one other thing which convinced me was the fact that I still have family in Warsaw. So lots of things convinced me. It's a really, really beautiful country. And when I'm here, I kind of feel like it's like a kind of home in some way.
Do you like Poland?
Oh yeah, I really love Poland. It's a really interesting country, and just being with Polish people for me is wonderful. I somehow, connect with them. I love listening to Polish. It's a beautiful language to listen to, although it's actually quite hard to write sometimes, I have to say, but maybe you find the same.
it's tough.
Yes, it's hard, right? The grammar is a bit tricky.
Yes.
But I love the countryside. For example, near the Zakopane, the mountains are beautiful.
What do you like the most in our country?
I love the beauty of the churches. Some of them are absolutely fantastic. For example, in Częstochowa, some of the history and the architecture is unique. And I really love the food is really good. I really enjoy the food. And I think the good sense of humour, like I say, I've been with Polish people all my life, and so it feels good to be with Polish people again in Poland.
Have you been to other countries? If yes, then which ones?
Oh, well, I've been to quite a few countries. Let's think, which ones have I been to? Well, I've been, for example, to Hong Kong, and I've been to Australia. I've been to quite a few countries in Africa, and I've been also to Latin America, so Mexico. I've also been to America, to several states there. I've also been to Russia, actually, and the Ukraine, because I once worked in the Ukraine. And coming back to Europe, I've been to most countries in Europe. And I've even been to Dubai, which is in the Middle East. So I've been to quite a few, but I haven't been to South America, and I would love one day to go, if that's possible.
That's quite a lot of countries.
Yes, it is. It's a lot. One place also I haven't been to is India. And I haven't been to mainland China, which would be really interesting to see.
When we were a child, who did you want to be in the future?
Oh, well, you see, my father, he was a scientist. So at home, we would often hear about science, which was really interesting. And when my father was young, he watched the first man land on the moon, Neil Armstrong. So I remember when we were young, we used to watch videos of space and like films about the universe. So I really wanted to be an astronaut when I was younger, and maybe be somebody who would reach Mars, for example. That was one of my ambitions when I was very, very young, when I was much younger now.
Do you have any siblings, or are you an only child?
No, I'm not an only child, but I do have two brothers. I don't have any sisters, but my brothers are Marcin and Michael, and Marcin is the older one, and my younger brother is called Michael, and they both live in England. Only I am in Poland at the moment. I speak Polish. They don't speak very much Polish, but I kind of wish I had sisters naturally, but now I have more sisters in my new family.
I see.
What's your dream that you want to come true?
Well, you know what, one really big dream I have is for everybody here to speak English really well, which I'm sure is possible. For people, for the children to relax, enjoy speaking English. and to have fun, being more fluent.
Who were you by profession before you joined the order? It was a difficult job for you?
Well, before I came to the congregation, I had several jobs. In the beginning, I worked in restaurants and in bars, and then later I worked in accounting, helping manage money and record where money is going. And then later I worked in business consulting, helping businesses to change the way they operate, and then later I felt I would like to study law, so I became a lawyer, and my last job was working in the City of London, and I specialised in commercial law and more law to do with corporate firms.
What languages do you know, and what other languages would you like to learn in the future?
Well, I know French because I studied French in school for a very long time, and I've been to France several times. I also know German because I used to live in Berlin, and I studied German at university. And then later I tried to learn Spanish and Portuguese because I went to Mexico and to Mozambique on mission. And I also know a little bit of Russian because I tried to study an A-level in Russian a long time ago. And what else do I know? Well, I know some Polish from my family and from living here. And maybe a little bit of Italian, perhaps.
And what can you say to our students? Do you have any tips for them that you followed when you were our age?
Well, I think the main thing is for me to encourage you to relax and have fun and just open your mouth and start speaking, because it doesn't really matter if you make mistakes. Mistakes will come, but don't worry about them. Just try speaking and enjoy it. I think if you relax and enjoy speaking, then it will become easier. So, and let the mistakes happen because they can be corrected later.